I mean, what award? Here you go, J.K. Rowling. Here is an award for the most half-baked truths and harmful inaccuracies presented in one essay. Well done. Well deserved. Congratulations. Or maybe it's an award for being able to unite a massive bunch of transphobes who hide their bigoted aims under the guise of feminism. Also, well done. Yay. At least those awards would have been justified. Hey Spuds, how's it going? Welcome back to another video. I hope you are well. I hope you're doing good. Thank you for joining me on this video, whether it's your first video or your not first video. I hope you're gonna enjoy it, kind of. Today we're talking about J.K. Rowling again. J.K. Rowling and the BBC. The BBC awarding J.K. Rowling. As we know, J.K. Rowling has slowly but surely shown more and more of her less than accommodating views towards trans people throughout 2020. Kind of putting it nicely. Her tweets included some gems such as, dress however you please, call yourself whatever you like, sleep with any consenting adult who'll have you, live your best life in peace and security, but force women out of their jobs for stating sex is real. Hashtag I stand with Maya. Hashtag this is not a drill. People who menstruate. I'm sure there used to be a word for those people. Someone help me out. Wombun. Whimpered. Rumored. These tweets were all capped off by an awfully long transphobic essay that made sweeping statements without any citations and posed opinions as facts. Again, without any backing. Not a single source was cited anywhere in this very long piece of writing. It caused a lot of hurt and a lot of damage to the trans community. It caused a lot of vocalizing from transphobes, including prominent names, and people feeling that they were now justified in their transphobic views, which is just so validating to see. To clarify, that was sarcasm. It's been horrible. It also caused my partner Sharbra and I to create a 1 hour long video dissecting each and every point of that essay and citing real and valid scientific sources to explain why what she said was inaccurate and misleading. So for anybody interested who wants to take a further look at that, you can. The link is in the description box below. Since this happened, the BBC, who have also been showing increased instances of anti-transness throughout the year, we'll get to that in a minute, have put the cherry on top of their dry and salty cake on pooping on the trans community by literally nominating J.K. Rowling for an award that she then won 3rd place in. And it gets worse, because it's not just her as a writer who has been nominated, but no, she was specifically nominated for the transphobic blog piece that she wrote. An award nomination for her trans exclusionary essay, with lots of misleading in what's basically a giant chunk of fake news designed to create fear. An award. 3rd place. What? Now, I would maybe expect this from some organisations. We all know places like The Sun and the Daily Mail do not have the best records at being trans friendly, or any of the many other online outlets that do anything for views and clicks and views. But surely not the British Broadcasting Corporation, the BBC, the very body that prides itself on impartial and balanced reporting for the good of all people. Let's take a step back and rewind to earlier in 2020 to when the BBC released a new rule that did not seem very impartial at all. In October, the BBC announced that their news and current affairs staff could no longer attend events such as LGBT+ Pride in the way that they currently do. Their attendance at Pride would now be conditional on 1, it being a commemorative community event, and 2, that their staff are not seen to be taking a stand on anything that may seem political or a contested issue. On one hand, my identity, my girlfriend's identity, the identity of every LGBT+ person who are just trying to live their authentic lives is not something that should be up for a debate. It should not be a contested issue. But Pride started as a riot, and even now there is still part protest for rights and a chance for the LGBT+ community to celebrate how far things have moved forward. And so Pride will always be seen as, at least for the foreseeable future, because we have a way to go, as something political and a contested issue. I really don't like the term contested issue though, because it makes it sound like my identity and who I am is up for a debate, which it is most definitely not. But nonetheless, society and people's non-acceptance of LGBT+ identities make LGBT+ pride and issues politicized and contested. So by saying people can only attend prides if they remain impartial is almost like saying they can't go. What do you want them to do? Paint themselves with impartiality camouflage and just stand there? Go, but not celebrate or take part in any way in fear that they would look like they're supporting their own identity or being a good ally. Confusion. This does not make sense. A few months later, the BBC also took the decision to only include trans people in media appearances if there was also a representative with anti-trans views, in order to create a balanced argument. Ofcom aren't happy with the BBC over this. Melanie Dawes, who is the head of Ofcom, called this decision
extremely inappropriate.
Imagine if my brown partner could could only speak about racial issues if there was also a racist person present. Or if a gay person had to report anti-gay views in every single piece they did. Surely I'm not the only person thinking this. Oh wait.
The BBC seems to be under the impression that it's got to balance all its reports about trans issues now by calling in transphobic groups like the so-called LGB Alliance to give a counter-argument. I mean, I think this is absurd because you would never do a report on racism, for example, and call in a racist organisation to say that they don't think that black people have a right to equality.
How is it creating any kind of balance to only have trans people appear in media when there is also bigots like the LGBT Alliance sat there literally debating trans people's existence? Say it with me. Trans people's lives, existence, and rights are not things to be debated. Trans people are people who should be allowed to speak about their lives and experiences without having some transphobe arguing with them. Being trans doesn't hurt anyone. Being transphobic does. And getting back to the topic of today's video, after all this talk of impartiality from the BBC, a BBC media editor literally rewarded an anti-trans essay. The award in question is the Russell Awards. It was established back in 2017 and apparently has 3 criteria for nominees and winners: the language, the erudition, and the moral force of written pieces. With the moral force criteria literally stating things like revulsion at injustice and displaying ethical energy. So let's get this straight. An award whose criteria is good language and writing, showing great knowledge, and having moral force has nominated J.K. Rowling's essay. An essay that was misleading, poorly cited, actually there were 0 citations, that actually presented half-truths and showed a great lack of knowledge in many areas, and demonstrated an immoral stance that harmed trans people, is up for this award. You had one job. To be fair, and giving J.K. Rowling some credit where credit's due, she did write the piece very well to incite fear towards trans people. There was a lot of misleading half-truths in there not backed up by any science, and I'm pretty sure that's not what this award criteria meant by erudition and moral force. Well done for scaring millions of people into thinking that trans people have some ulterior motive that's all big and scary, when we really don't. We just want to live our lives. Here is your trophy. Amol Rajan is the BBC's media editor in question who nominated J.K. Rowling and everybody else and picked the winner for this award. And in the introduction of this year's awards, he stated, "Final thing, I'm impartial. I'm not endorsing any of the positions taken by any of these writers. If you want to bombard me with post-structuralist analysis of how I'm reinforcing discourses and hierarchies of oppression, or whatever it might be, honestly, it's not worth your time. I just love great writing." I just love great writing. I don't care what it means. He goes on to state specifically towards J.K. Rowling's piece that he takes no view whatsoever on the issues she's raised. As if divorcing yourself from the opinions within a written piece that you are literally giving an award to makes it okay. As if saying that you only care about the writing and not the meaning makes it okay. As if you can ever actually fully separate the written words from their meaning in the first place. I wonder if I'm also a written blog piece from the B&P about why people should be discriminated against simply for the colour of their skin. That, bear in mind, was very well written. Would he consider that a shining light of language, erudition, and moral force, just because it was well written? 2/3 of the criteria for this award are literally showing knowledge and morality in your writing. To me, this act of awarding a damaging blog post, no matter how much Amol claims impartiality, which, by the way, he claims an awful lot as if he knew this would cause upset. This act is uplifting and literally rewarding J.K. Rowling's opinions. You can't sit on the fence when a marginalised group of people are having their rights challenged on a platform to millions of people. It doesn't work that way. You can't give someone a platform and a freaking award, let alone that platform and award for something harmful they said, and then claim impartiality. No matter his personal opinions, by giving J.K. Rowling this award or nominating her for this award, he is actively raising up her voice and opinions and giving them more of a platform. And to demonstrate that this uplifting of her opinions is actually a result of Amel's impartial judging, transphobic people are again feeling justified and stronger in their opinions and ability to spout transphobia, directly as a result of J.K. Rowling's nomination in this award. The final screenshot here really demonstrates why you cannot simultaneously remain impartial whilst also awarding bigotry. Hashtag J.K. Rowling is trending. @J.K. Rowling has been justified by receiving the Russell Prize from @BBC News, which is a trustworthy news media. While others are pointing against her, all of us shouldn't change our mind. Instead, we should all unite to support her. Hashtag I stand with J.K. Rowling. Knowing full well that J.K. Rowling's piece caused a lot of offence, and not just offence, but harm and upset and pain. He tries to justify this by sweeping it under the rug and saying that offence is the price of free speech. He's really trying to pass off the hurt and damage caused to the trans community as just a feeling, a maybe. This is what they thought. No, it's what happened. The harm and damage were caused. It's like saying, oh, yeah, some people felt like what she said might have been a little bit mean, but it's all in a good-hearted day of free speech. And I like the way she wrote it. Here is your award, J.K. Rowling. Going on to call Transphobia an exhilaratingly powerful piece of prose also doesn't really sound like just caring about the way it's written. Why is it powerful if you do not care about the opinions? Why is it powerful to write lies about an already hugely discriminated against group within society? That's not brave or powerful to me, or impartial. Yes, Rowling opened up about a very traumatic experience that nobody deserves to go through, and that is brave to open up about. That was one section of her blog piece, but unfortunately it was used as a means to speak out further against the trans community, when trans people have literally nothing to do with her trauma. And the rest of her blog piece around that bit is definitely not brave. And Mull then goes on to justify it by talking about the power of plain and monosyllabic words, and using Enoch Powell as an example. Great. Wonderful comparison there. Then he quotes this part of Rowling's essay. So I want trans women to be safe. At the same time, I do not want to make natal girls and women less safe. To me, this part just shows a great lack of knowledge on Rowling's part. Trans women and cis women can both be safe within the same space, because trans women are not a threat to cis women. The way J.K. Rowling meant this is that natal girls and women will be less safe in the presence of trans women within women's spaces. Is that clever and moral to you? The rhetorical power from those two sentences derives partly from the plainness of English. Only women, twice, and natal contain more than one syllable. So it doesn't even fit into his criteria of being monosyllabic plain writing. Although he tried to justify this by stating that only women, occurring twice, and natal have more than one syllable. That's like saying, yeah, this plate is vegetarian, look, there's 7 pieces of broccoli. What, oh, those 3 sausages? It's only a few, it's still mostly vegetarian, it counts. Now, I'm no expert in written prose specifically, but I actually laughed out loud when I read this as the justification. Not because it's funny, but just because it sounded so ridiculous. Maybe somebody who knows more can understand his position better. But to me, if one of your main reasons for nominating a trans-exclusionary piece of writing is one sentence that almost uses completely monosyllabic words, then you really need to do better. I can do one better for you. Trans rights. There you go, 2 words, 1 syllable each. That's got more knowledge and moral force in it than Rowling's entire essay. J.K. Rowling already has a powerful voice and powerful platform, and giving her further platform without calling out the harm that she's caused or the wrongness in her piece of writing is not being impartial. I expect better of a BBC editor, and I expect better of the BBC as a whole. Do better, BBC. Making Pride attendance conditional for certain staff members on very unclear rules based on remaining neutral, introducing a new rule meaning that trans people can't make media appearances without some anti-trans bigot arguing their very existence, and now rewarding what's probably the most dangerous and misleading piece of writing I've seen against trans people this year, with an award for good writing and knowledge and moral force. It really sums up 2020, doesn't it? Sorry to put out such a heavy video just before Christmas. It's something that I really wanted to talk about though. I think it's important to talk about these things, especially when other places are not actually talking about what's wrong and they're literally giving an award without talking about the meaning. I don't get it. But I also really wanted to remind everybody that the BBC do take on feedback, and I've left a link in the pinned comments if you felt like you wanted to share something with them. If you would like a good old dose of positivity, then you can follow my partner Shaba and I on Twitch. We will be streaming on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day this year, and then we stream twice a week anyway, so please come follow us there. It's a lovely, happy community if you just want some feel-good vibes. Also, definitely please go show some love to my partner Shaba. This video would not have been possible without all of her help, and yes, she put a lot of work into this as well, so thank you. That is everything for today. Think about giving this video a thumbs up and subscribing if you want to, but no pressure. Go leave your comments down below, and as always, I'll see you next time. Much love. Bye.